Hello everyone, yeah, as usual, let's wait for some minutes until everyone joins us, then we can start. Okay, so I think we can start. Yeah. Sandra is also joining us. Yeah, let's accept this invitation. So, yeah, we can start. Hello, everyone. Let's continue with the exception topic regarding your questions. I will answer them. I'll answer to them as usually at the end of the session. So yeah, I can. So we can discuss them also on yesterday. And one morning, I think I answered to Christine. So and yeah, and also there's the same, almost same question from Sandra. Well, yeah, about Martian and vomiting. So we'll discuss it today. So there are some common mistakes, which yeah, I'll try to explain. Then we'll hope that will help you. Okay, let's move on with the exceptions at the moment. So as I promised to Svetlana last time, I will show one small, like not example, but the way. Ah, okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Marta, for. I just haven't noticed that I'm not sharing the screen. Yeah, you should be able to see it now. Actually, I haven't. I haven't shown you anything yet, so you have not missed anything. So yeah, just one small example how we can trigger the. Sorry, not package. How we can trigger the class not found error. Just as I said, that's mostly related to some build path problems, to some loading problems. So yeah, just for example, if you have, like, you want to try this class, then for name, like you want to get some class name, and let's provide some class which does not exist, like this case, yeah, it throws exception. So you need to put catch block here. Yeah, so that the method returns. Yeah, maybe just let's skip decoration. So here let's print start trace. So yeah, Ewan is also joining. So yeah, if we run this, you'll see that it tries to search for the class dummy class, but it does not exist. So yeah, basically, just simple. If you want to access or load the class which does not exist, you'll get the class not found exception. That's maybe not the mistake you can get for some kind of simple code, or just the code which just goes by step without such additional loadings. But that's also possible if you are trying to load the class from somewhere. And yeah, last time we finished with a statement finally. just maybe a small reminder. If you have try statement, like this line breaks. You see the questions? Yeah. So, yeah, that's maybe a class not found exception is mostly, I think, mostly achieved in if you have any problems with Java build path. And yeah, sometimes even if you try to run the program, you can get this exception. That means that something with there's a problem with the build path. Yeah, regarding the finally statement, so basically you can even use try catch results catch, but just using the finally. Yeah, it asks to select file never cost cost yeah, you need to handle the exception as well. Maybe I was just so if you write throws exception in your main method and you get exception, then it will work the same way if you just get the exception. So yeah, here you can see, yeah, basically again if you just put throws exception here, that then you will just get the same exception as you usually get. So basically for throws, if there is a basically how does the throws works? You have the method or something, yeah, mostly you have the method which so there's the code inside the method, maybe just maybe let's create a simple hierarchy. Just class A. So you have one void one. Maybe yeah, just go ahead. Let's create kind of exception because I don't really want to use class this exception. So basically, I'm just creating the exception class. We'll have the topic today how to create and why do you need to create your own exception classes. So yeah, but for this purpose, let's just create to use it. So basically, now I'm explaining how the throws statement works and when do you need to use it. So, like imagine here I have some code, blah blah blah, and in the code you can throw the exception, since the exception that's the class, you need to create the object, and it shows the error because that's the handled exception. So here we go from bottom to top. So that's the bottom of the code. So you have kind of logic, and it must be handled somewhere. Like you see, it shows. So you define the method inside the class, and you define the throw statement, which means that you raise the exception. So it shows that it must be handled. At the moment you see that you don't use this method, you use this method nowhere. So in this case, the only thing you can do is to add the pattern to this method that it throws this exact exception. So, and the same as I showed you last time. If you call another method and you want to call the method where the exception is called, you will see that this must be handled as well. So it goes from bottom to top, and at one place you will need to handle this exception again. So if we put it here, then if you have another method, like free throws test exception, maybe just it shows up. So again, if you want to call void2, because it still has the pattern, that's why you cannot get rid of this error result without putting the try catch statement. Yeah. So at the end you must always, basically you cannot escape if there's a hierarchy of method calls, like hierarchy stack. Yeah, you have stack basically from top to bottom, from top to bottom. Yeah, you have stack. And at one point, if somewhere at the beginning, yeah, for example, at the beginning of the stack or at the middle, it doesn't matter. So sometimes below the top of the stack, the exception is there's the place where exception is thrown or may be thrown. You must have the place the stack. Yeah, I just want to explain you. So yeah, just my paint. By stack, I just mean that you may imagine the execution flow of the program. So again, if there's a method, one method calls another method, then another method calls another method. We go. So there's the stack, one method, another method, and method. So that's the stack. And what I mean here, if we go to the top of the method calling, and there's somewhere the method which throws the exception, right? Then this must be handled at least somewhere. So you cannot escape the exception handling if there's a possibility that it throws somewhere. Of course, if you have kind of dynamic method call, I think there's a possibility that you can escape this. But if you have such direct logic defined, so you call one method from another method, at the end you must have the place where the exception is called. So yeah, I think I missed why do we need 127. This question from yeah, here's that's the beginning. That's the beginning where the exception is thrown. So basically, this means that this is the method where you raise the exception. Like, imagine you have this logic somewhere here. You check if something is not correct, then throw the exception, for example. Again, how does it work? Yeah, let's return to the stack. If yeah, again, let me draw the stack. Like, imagine you have the method throw new exception somewhere here, or not. Yeah, imagine somewhere here. Then you call this method from this method, which calls this method from this method, and so on and so on. And you have the try catch statement. Imagine somewhere here, try catch, which catches this exception. Catch X, for example. So it goes from here to here. I mean, from this catch to from this throw. So you have throw method, not method, throw statement executed here. Then you go to this method. Yeah, that's what I call. Okay, so for example, yeah, I call method 2 from method 2 from method 3, then I call method 1 from method 2, and here I throw the exception. So just visualization how this hierarchy works. So basically, what I want to explain is that at some point you will, yeah, we'll have the examples. This is just the explanation of the syntax and yes, short introduction how basically the throw statement works, and that I basically want to explain the idea that you cannot escape the throwing of the exception. So at one point you need to have try catch, or you put method throws, which means that when in the place where the method where the throws is defined is called, it means that this method will also throw the exception. So exceptions goes from bottom to top. Or yeah, in this case maybe it's more logical because we can call it from top to bottom. So that's top we throw, and we go then to the down to the stack. Okay, but yeah, we will have some examples where we can use this method throw, yeah, where we can use the throw statement, raising of custom exceptions, and why this is really good to use, and it's very useful to use. It decreases number of steps you need to do in the programming. I will show you some examples. Yeah. Okay, let's move on with the presentation. And yeah, exception handling. That's what I just introduced. If throwable is not handled to the main method, program execution is halted. So if throwable is handled, then execution of try block is immediately halted. Then execution of appropriate catch block is started, and after exception handling instruction, after last catch or final block is executed. If it was not initial call, execution after call is executed. Yeah. Just yeah, starting job 7, you can have try with resources. That's maybe not what we are interested at the moment, but the multi-catch is it's a nice feature. I think you can meet it in different programming languages. Basically, how does it work? How does it work? Test multi exceptions, for example. Yeah. So I don't want to use the public class usually because that's mostly used for execution. Yeah, maybe you can ask the question why do I don't like to use this public class? Basically because of the name. We mostly use classes, the public class for testing, at least in this case. So we execute, we test something, and for naming convention, especially if you have the objects, like if you use the class statically, that can be fine if you use kind of test something classes. Otherwise, just from the naming convention point of view, the object, I don't think that it is fine if the object is referred to kind of, you have the object with reference to the class test something. that's not true. It doesn't sound correct at least from my point of view. Yeah, it's not a mistake, but that's what I do not consider as the right one. That's why I just create a public class for the testing purpose. Then I use different classes to write some other stuff. So yeah, and have class multi exceptions, something like that. Then let's have public void crown. And for example, we can try a catch block. Maybe not here. Yeah, here we can create a new object. Okay, then let's try catch, and for example, we can try to catch null pointer exception, for example, or we can use, and we can also catch yeah. Kind of arithmetic exception, for example, yeah. And here we can divide by 0, for example. And that's exception that we already had. Just name this way. Have like something k2, b0, then we just want to get arithmetic exception at the end. That's one exception, and for null pointer exception, that's defined by a string. If we want to access null string, for example, in some way. Yeah. And here, for example, let's print out so you can see that maybe let's comment it out just to be clear. So at this point we trigger the exception, arithmetic exception is triggered, and at this point null pointer exception should be triggered. Yeah. So in this case it means that we can have multiple different exceptions to be caught in one place. Like if you have the same stuff to do for both of them, you can just easily define them this way, and that's it. Yeah, in case you want to, just this way, doesn't make sense if you try to catch this way, because again, if you want to catch the parent exception, it will always catch the exception of the subclass. That's why there is no actual need to catch the parent class and subclass at the same time. But yeah, in case you have the common stuff to be done in catch block, you're welcome to use this syntax. See, certainly stepping. 130. Yeah, here I just want to trigger null pointer exception. Since string does the object, I just assign a null to object, and here we want to do the dereferenciation. Like if we use dot, it is called dereferenciation, and in this case I want to dereference the variable which is the object which has no reference, since that's the null. I want to dereference the object which has no reference, and that's why null pointer exception is triggered. So yeah, that's just a basic example where we can have the same catch block for two different exception. In case you have more complicated logic, like this one, you can have the code, then you just want to try and catch, for example, two exceptions in the same place. You have, for example, two catch statements for one catch statement for two different exceptions. For this exception, then you can have another code for for different exceptions, two or more. So just scroll here. Yeah. So maybe let's just again the class. So I just want to have random exceptions here. Class not found exception. This one, just have random exception here. Okay, it doesn't really matter. We can have one exception only. It's just so yeah, you can have one try catch here, then you can have another catch after that with as many classes as you want. Yeah. I think just the brackets, then we have, okay, we don't need this one. Okay, and what's here? Try catch, and try catch. Try catch, and no, we don't need this one. Yeah, so that's like in theory it understands that we cannot have this exception, but just imagine that we can have this exception. So you can have the syntax like try, do something, then catch. For these exceptions, do some stuff. From another exceptions, do different stuff, and so on and so on. Right, so that's basically how you can use multiple exception handling. Yeah, the Trolls keyword we already talked about. So it points you that there's something dangerous can happen in the deeper level of execution stack. Yeah, that is what I said. You have the stack, then you have the current programs, the last programs you called on the top, then the programs which actually called these methods which are on the top of the stack. So yeah, again, it goes deeper and deeper until the place where the exception, where the logic for exception race is defined. And you must define throw statements to point that actually exception can happen. Yeah. So that's can be defined using throws keyword, as you know. So you have the method, then at the end of the method declaration you can add throws and the class which can be thrown there. So throws keyword can be added to code block method of class. Yeah, this way. You can also have multiple ones, like for example, maybe let's not use this one. Let's use the question. With exception tomorrow, yeah, we can have, and even more. I think I will also show the example I just recently used. Yeah, we'll have the yes, that's fine. We'll have the exception how you can use try catch. Yeah, maybe let's. So if let's continue maybe somewhere. Yeah, again as here, if we have kind of two statements. If you just imagine you have one statement, another statement, throw. Let's just have another exception class. So here we throw another one. Throw new, of course. Since the exception is the class, you can use throw. And here it shows that, yeah, it shows again that this is a head one. So if you have more than one exception, you also need to put them in throws statement. And here you can use multiple ones. So yeah, you need to put throws for all the exceptions called in the corresponding method. So that's currently I'm just explaining the syntax and basically the way how it works. Later I'll also explain how you can use it. Yeah, obviously. So yeah, that's how it can be used again. If you read the file, for example, then you try to open the file, which in theory cannot exist. Yeah, that's also possible. Then you can also use try catch there. And yeah, no need to declare runtime or compilation time exceptions, because these you will not run your program if it is not compiled. Yeah, if you have some errors. Yeah. So inheritance and exceptions, as I told, all the exceptions are inherited from exception class, and if you want to catch like every exception, you can again use try catch and catch exception class, for example, that will catch all the exceptions from the subclass. Again, we have the hierarchy of the exception classes. So let me show simple. So yeah, we have the class throwable at the top, then we have exceptions, different exceptions here, and like if the exception, basically, yeah, imagine you have, for example, no pointer exception thrown, that then if you define one of these exceptions, which are the parent class, which are the yeah, not one of these, but runtime exception, so or any other parent classes of just on hierarchy, you have one parent class and another parent class and so on and so on. Then if you write try catch class, which is the parent class of no pointer exception, that will correct not the parent class of the first level, it can be the parent class of the second level and so on and so on, basically until the exception class. So all the classes which are parent classes will be called. Yeah. So it works this way. So in catch statement, the parent class will catch all parent exception class will catch all the subclasses. Yeah. So extending class, yeah, that's throw exception from standard class can be only narrower, more special if it's superclass. Yeah, basically that's mostly the same as for the casting. Yeah, when we discuss casting, you know that the upcasting is always acceptable. Same for the exception. Actually, if you catch the exception of the superclass, it does kind of casting there, and it catches the exception of the subclass. Yeah. So that's kind of example. You have one class, then you have another class which extends class A, then it throws arithmetic exception that will also throw the exception. Maybe let's show it here. Just imagine you have just let me create some classes here, like exception class 1, which extends the exception class, sorry, which extends the exception class. Then we have another class. And then we have just one class, which is class A, for example. A1. Then we have the class like A2, which extends class A1. And you have the maybe it would be public method, which throws here you override it. Then you put kind of exception throws. Exception 2. Yeah. So here if you create a new object here. Yeah, here you also need to handle the exception. Yeah, sorry, not my fault. Yeah, that's I didn't notice that you. Sorry, yeah, just missed that we have another method here. Yeah, like if you have the, just not maybe needed. Yeah, I want to explain you that if we have the subclass and we have overridden method, so we cannot catch the exception. If we extend the class exception 1, then everything is fine here with the method, right? Because if we want to do it in the opposite way, like this one, this will not allow us, because if we have the subclass, then we override the method, which throws the exception. It cannot be the superclass of the one defined here. The exceptions, if you have the method in your superclass, it throws some kind of exception. Then you have the method in your subclass, which throws different kind of exception. Exception 2. In this case, exception 2 can be more special, which means that can be only the subclass of exception 1 or the same class. Yeah, you can catch exception 1. That's also fine, but we need to. But it cannot be the superclass, the subclass of. The superclass of exception 1. Yeah. So the one from the subclass can only be more special than the one from the superclass. Basically the same what you can, the same property what stands for all the classes. If you extend something, you go to more special than something in the parent class. Yeah. Same about the method. Same about throws. We can only have something more special in the subclass. Yeah. Just let's get rid of this. Exception, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. And yeah, here we go to custom exception. I already already used custom exceptions, and in case you have basically your own solution and you don't really need to and don't really want to use the generic exceptions you can create your own exceptions. And I think after the break I will explain you maybe the way how you can use the custom exception. So I think we can have the break now, and after that I will go about for some examples even in case you have. So yeah, especially for the case you want to use custom exceptions. Yeah, let's have a break now. forgot to turn on the headphones. So yeah, let's continue. So basically the idea, yeah, that's regarding the question from sweater on a long stack in the last example. So can I make some comments here? Yeah, sure. So basically what's the idea? We have one class, right? The class which is used as the parent class for a class, let it be A2. Then we have the method, public method, which throws the exception one, yeah? You can see that's exception, so nothing special here. We have one class, which has the method, which has the void method, which throws the exception one. So nothing special here, but imagine we have another exception which extends the previous exception. And we do have the class which extends the previous class. So we have the subclass of class A1 and we have the sub-exception of the class except1. Right, and we just want to override the method from the superclass. And yeah, maybe if we do it this way, it should be fine, because we actually don't do anything here. So we totally override. If we want to call the superclass, then we'll have some problems here. Have some problems because superclass throws the exception. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, super method. Because we because the superclass throws the exception one, so we must also throw this exception. But in case we want to throw another exception here, what we can do? We can throw exception from the subclass, and that's also fine, yeah? So we throw the exception from, we can throw it from the same class, exception one, or we can throw it from the subclass, that's from subclass, so sub-exception, you know, it's called. Basically, in fact, that's the subclass of the exception. Okay, maybe let's just make more understandable, let's call it from sub-exception of exception one. Yeah. And imagine that you have the opposite example. I mean, if in this case exception 1 extends exception 2, and this one is just a simple exception, which is the parent of this exception. That's not acceptable, yeah. It's just again here we just throw exception 1, which extends some exception. At this point, from this point of view, we don't really care about it, because we just have method, we just have the class, that's fine. We have the method, that's also fine, nothing special. We throw something here, it's also fine. And here is, we throw exception 1, which is defined here, which extends some other exception, that's also fine. At this point of view, we don't care about anything. But here we extend class A1, which means that we can override the method, and here it wants to throw some exception 2. But what we can see here, exception 2 is the parent exception of exception 1 from the superclass, and we cannot do it here. Yeah, because that's the superclass of the same method which is overridden, or which is overridden here. Yeah. So we can throw same exception, or the exception from the superclass. Like again, if we go back to this, we can have one exception. Then we cannot have the exception which not is part of the hierarchy. Yeah. if we have two unrelated exceptions, like in this case, you can see there are no relations between them, and in the method of the subclass, which is overridden here, you cannot throw exception which is not related to the same to the exception from the same method in the superclass. You must have, so again, in the most simple way, you have the method, which is public or protected, you throw something, then you have the subclass which overrides this method, and in the place of throws you can have, comparing to this one, the same one or any subclass of this exception, sub-exception of this exception. Yeah. So if we define that exception 1 extends exception, exception 2 extends exception 1, that's absolutely fine. So basically that was the idea I want to explain here. And yeah, maybe let's have one. I have one example from university. Let me check if I have the original name of the exercise. Let me check. Okay, let me check the original exercise. I think so that's on, yeah, let me download it. Just a moment. Yeah, so yeah, that's in Latin, but I'll explain. So the task was to just based on the two numbers, number set to number n, z and n. I can call it. Yeah. So based on two numbers, we just want to draw something like that. Yeah. And here we have based on the first number, based on the second number, yeah, number n. Yeah, based on the number n, we have some shifting from the left side, and based on the number set, we have number of pluses. So in each one we have one plus, one plus less than in the line below. Yeah. And here we have kind of also stuff we don't care about. Basically, here I just want to show how did I use the exceptions. So yeah, we have the input, and like imagine that the input can be, we have the range for the input. So one variable can be from 0 to 20, another variable can be from 0 to 30. So basically, we can check, we can validate it using the exceptions. So basically, let's create the class. Example. Yeah, just some example. And again, I will use different class. So I create the class picture builder just to build this picture. So I will define two integer numbers. Right, we can only have integer numbers. Then just for drawing purpose, I will use for input and for the lines. that's just for drawing. And yeah, that's practically okay. Maybe let's create the winners. So, or just maybe don't do it now. That's not what we actually want. So yeah, and let's create the constructor, public picture builder. Then we maybe don't use the input. Yeah, we will not use the input. And yeah, we'll not use the. We don't need the constructor as well. So let's have the public void run, for example. Yeah. And here we can have some. Yeah, maybe let's start with the method definition. Then let's yeah, let's for example have the public void read, and here let's read, yeah, public void private void. Sorry, yeah, we don't need to use private. Then we use buffer read. Buffer reader, and here we basically want to read from the console, yeah, for example. Then again have the input string, and we want to just say string reader. Okay, I think that's not the right one. That's the right one. So yeah, here I want to read values. Enter it. I just want our user to enter the values in console. Then let's, for example, print some text. Enter set. And here we can have this, can assign the value, then we parse to integer, and we use reader, sorry, we use reader, yeah, read line, yeah. Yeah, and as you can see here, by default we cannot use this method without the exception handling, yeah. So here we need, otherwise, so if I don't throw an exception, it will not allow me to continue working with this program. That's why I need to define that this method throws the exception. And let's do the same for the variable n. Yeah, maybe if you're interested, I can share the task in Discord, so you can basically read what is needed there. task. So I shared the original task in Discord, so if you're interested, you can check what is requested here. Yeah, I will skip the part where you just need to draw this number set button, because that's not the idea we want to show here. Yeah, and so that's for the value read, and again here we want to, for example, if we want to read the values, populate the values, it again shows that there is a handled exception, and that's the case when I start to write try catch block, then I have input output exception, and here I can type that input output exception occurred, for example. Yeah. Then what do I have next? So I can see the question. Read requests the exception. Method read requests the exception because we want to, like, if we don't use it here, you can see that this method. So yeah, for example, I just want to use this method. Yeah, that's the method from the generic class. So I want to use this method here. That it does not allow me without exception handling. So I define that the method where I use this method. Maybe let's have a better variable name here. And so yeah, if I want to use this method read line, I need to throw the exception. Why it is so? Because that's the way it is defined. If we go to method declaration of, as we can see here, we have the buffer. So the reader has the type reference to buffer reader class. So here's buffer reader class. Here's the method read line we use here. Yeah. Then it shows that it throws the exception. And again, if we go deeper, that will also throw this exception. Yeah. So that's why it is called. Because again, if we want to use any method which throws some kind of exception, we will also need to throw the exception inside our method or pass it forward to the place where this method will be called from. Yeah. So here what I do, I run the program, I read the values. If the input output is incorrect, so basically what I want to do, I don't want to continue the execution of my program, so I just want to finish it. Yeah. And I go to exception, and it will go out. It will finish the program. Yeah. So that's about read, and let's move on with. And maybe the key point what I wanted to show here is the validation. Yeah. So imagine that's the point which basically that's the procedure. Yeah, that's the procedure which can be used and which is used in lots of developments where you just need to validate the data, right? So and here let's validate data. Yeah. And for this purpose, I will create my own exception class, which is called incorrect input data. Yeah. input data, and I want to, so I will just extend the exception class to not overcomplicate this, yeah. So let's go here. Yeah, no syntax error. So, and maybe if we go a little bit ahead, then we can define the constructor of this so maybe we can also override them. So yeah, we didn't discuss it, we haven't discussed it yet. But I will suggest, basically that's the way how we can construct our own exception class. So yeah, all the exception classes are just simple classes, basically used in the same way as all the classes can be used with some specific, with a specific framework. Yeah, so we can have the constructor, we can have the COBOL variables. And we can also override some methods from the exception class. Here, if we want to write something, so here I just want to print that we have incorrect input, and I will provide the values here for the input. Is incorrect, yeah. Yeah, and here we want to check validity for our input. Yeah, we have two variables. Here we check if they are now out of range. So if, as it is defined in the task, z must be greater than 0, this should be greater or equal than 0. Yeah, it should be greater than 0. Then and it shouldn't be less than, should be less than 20, or it or if n is not greater than 0, and then what we can do here, here we can throw the exception new, incorrect, and here we can pass to inputted two parameters inputted, yeah. And again here, since we have the method which throws something we need to define that this method throws something. In this case, it throws incorrect input data. Yeah, that is what we define. Here we can go after the read. Like in this case, we can catch another exception. So that's our exception. Yeah, sorry, missed. Oh, yeah, my fault again. Check validity. And here we can just simply print this method, yeah. Print stack trace. Yeah. So we have checked. Yeah, that's not really important. Maybe let's use default serial number. Just yeah, maybe let's not go deeper about it. That's just simple serial number stuff. So yeah, basically here we do the validation, and maybe just to finish the task. So it's not really important, but let's finish the task. We need to draw, yeah, as it is stated. So let's draw, and let's create the cycle. Let's start with the first one, line break. Let's see, then pause. Then let's increment line break. Then let's current number, which will be increased when we go from bottom to top. And again, for just here we'll draw the tree of process. And basically what I want to do is just to create the lines. If we go from bottom to top, so we have line breaks, and then we just create the string of process, yeah. Go here and we add the plus to the current line, yeah. And we decrement current number because you can see that when we go from bottom to top, number of process will be reduced by 1. Yeah. And then and for line break we also decrement it by 1. Yeah. And at the end, so here we constructed the tree, and we can draw it. Minus. So yeah, here we just want to go from from top to bottom, yeah? And here, just print it out. Once and that's practically it. Don't need this one. And here let's draw. So, oopsie, sorry. I thought, yeah. And let's also execute this. Let's execute this run, yeah. No, sorry, not this picture builder. Picture builder, let's run. Okay. So here, if you want to enter something, yeah, no pointer exception. So, yeah, I think I missed to initialize the array. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Yeah, here I missed to initialize the array. I think it should be. It should be once I set up the values. Yeah. Okay. So female should be better. And yeah, so we can see we should have the tree of classes with some breaks. Basically, what did I do here? I created an exception class. Why? Because basically I need to do the validation for the input data, and imagine if you, again, here we have run, yeah, then we go deeper, we have check validity, maybe yeah, let's imagine if it's not here, but that's somewhere here, for example, yeah. Throws exception also. Throw them. So what we want to do after the exception is called. So we have method reads, then we read the data, then we go to draw and we draw the data. But let's imagine that we have the incorrect input inside the method read. Yeah. So for example, here we enter something which is totally outside the range allowed. Yeah. So yeah, now we have that the program is stopped and it shows us the mistake we did. That is achieved using the try catch, and here we throw the exception that we have some problem. But let's imagine if we are not allowed to use exceptions here on, how can we do it without the exception? So imagine we don't have this class, like in our case. We don't have this class. So yeah, of course we get some errors, but so what do we need to do? So first of all, here we need to define it as boolean, yeah. So if we want to check the boolean, then here we return false, otherwise return true. So we have, yeah, just let's see, we have 2 more lines of code, yeah. Here, then we go here, yeah, of course, let's mention we don't have this one anymore. Then from here sorry, first of all, this one will also return, we'll need to have the boolean here, then again, if we have some input here, if this check validity equals false, then return false. And yeah, also let's skip this one. Yeah. Or maybe let's just do it this way. Yeah, and this one, and at the end return true. And here, okay, if you want to read, if not, yeah, if it's false, then return. Yeah, just then print out that we have. Maybe let's not overcome. Yeah, maybe let's. Yeah, just let's use the most public one. Oh no, that's fine. Yeah, we can use. So since we're in the same class, we can do it this way. Yeah, and return. Don't do anything after that. So yeah, that's basically the same approach if we don't use try catch. So let's count how did we complicate our logic. So first of all, I have to, in method read, I have to decline boolean, which is, from my point of view, is not correct, because basically imagine if you have the method, so the best practice for the methods, for the classes, is that you have the name of the method, which like you have have the name of the method eat. So it means that in this method, the only thing you can do is you need to do is to eat, for example, or to read, or just to do any action. You actually, in the method read, you cannot you are not allowed to just return something like unweighted type. Like, it doesn't really make sense if you have the method read defined and you return something like boolean, string, and so on and so on. From my point of view, it's not 100% correct. Yeah, because if you have the method read, so that's the void which does something, and in theory that's practically it. If you have the method get something, you of course have a returning type, and you get something from something, yeah, somewhere. Yeah, and from this point we need to go through this to actually check if we are allowed to continue our program or to return. Yeah, so I think it is more visible here why it is easier and more understandable if we use the exceptions, not this kind of validations using the line 27. Yeah, it just means that we want to go out of this. So this return means that we just want to stop the execution of the program, and not of the program but of the method, and go outside. So basically here, what do we have? If read is incorrect, then we print the error and we go outside this execution. Yeah. but using try catch, we just can do try catch and have catch at the end of the. Yeah, that's like break. Yeah, so absolutely correct. Yeah, but breaks most we use for switch methods, but yeah, so switch statements for methods we usually use return just to go out go out of the method. But in case we have try catch, so you can see here we have try and we have catch at the end of the method, so we just don't need to interrupt our program. So that's why I think that you agree that the approach using try catch is more understandable. We don't need to do such validation with booleans, with any other little bit math stuff here. We just have our program fall, yeah, do something. So if we read that's the void, it does something. If something goes wrong, then the exception is thrown, and the catch is triggered. Then we go at the end of the original method, and the program will not be continued. Yeah. So now I want to ask you the question: is it? So do you understand it? Yeah. And do you agree that this approach using try catch is much more better and much more easier to use and to understand if you read the code, and to have this return boolean, check boolean, like read and in the meanwhile check something, or we just create our own program, or we just create a simple program which does the flow of actions, and if something goes wrong, then we throw the exception and just go basically to the place where this exception needs to be thrown. No, it's just I just want to hear your opinion. If from your point of view, it's understandable why it's better to use try catch than to use than to not use try catch. Yeah, in case you have any questions, please ask about it. Yeah, Marty, that's good. And that's basically the cases. These are the cases why you need to use, why you don't need to use, but why it's recommended to use try catch, and why it's very flexible and very comfortable to use them. Yeah, but that's it. But yes, basically, I just yeah, that's it. But, okay, let's wait until you type something more. So. Okay, sound just tapping. Yeah, not be able to figure out any. No, I mean, so that was the question from Wien, which as yeah, as I understood from Wien, so you just want to understand why do we really use try catch and why we don't. Why we just don't use this, yeah, just use anything else, yeah. So in this case, it's really comfortable. So you have the, it's really cool if you just have the flow of the program. You run the program, you define try catch, and if something crashes, no, yeah, when it's fine, it comes. I think it comes with the experience, but I just really, yeah, but I really want to show and to understand that it's much easier to get with this program if you have try catch than if you. I want to say that this this approach of booleans, then if you want to validate something with like booleans, so that's like return boolean something, then just do kind of this check. It's maybe overcomplicated, and if you just have a simple class, so this is just a simple exception class. I have the class which extends exception. You have again so don't look at this one. That's just default one. You have again simple stuff here like global variables, then constructor. Then you have on the method which is overridden from the superclass exception. You print something here, yeah, just nothing special here, nothing new for you. Then when you want to throw the exception, you also again you put the method throw, not the method, use the keyword throw. Then you create a new class. The same way as all other classes, you use the keyword new. You use your class, exception class, then you call the constructor with the parameters. And it means that you go to the place, so from here you go to the place where this exception is thrown, yeah? And this is the place which is here. So we go from here to here, and as we can see, this is basically the end of the program. So again, if we have the flow of the program, and we notice that somewhere we have something incorrect, which does not allow us to proceed with the execution of the program. So we just print what's wrong, and we finish the program. Otherwise, without the exception, we just need to go manually from top of the stack to the bottom to actually print something and go out that something is incorrect. Yeah. So that's what it is, and why the exceptions are very useful. But how do we know that we could expect an exception? Yeah, Lena, that's a good question. You can know that you expect the exception if you have the method which is defined as throws something. Yeah, that's basically the way how you can know if we can expect the exception. So if we call the method, some method, and it shows you that, and it throws something that it will, again, as in this case, we call the method read line from reader, and here it shows that exception isn't handled. So we can expect that this method can throw some kind of exception. I mean, in this case, it can throw exception, input output exception, yeah. And the same as here again. So if we use method check validity, it shows that it throws, yeah, in this case I commented out, but if it is not commented out, then it shows that if we want to use this method, we'll have the same error that this method can throw the exception. So basically this is the way we can understand if the exception can be caught or not. Also, if we have some arithmetic exceptions, like if we want to divide by 0, if not want to divide, if we actually try to divide by 0, yeah, in this case we cannot really understand. So basically in this case everything depends on your skills, maybe on your understanding of the program, of the flow of the program, and of course you will not always be able to actually understand if the exception is expected or not, but in case that's defined that the method you use throws the exception, you will be able to you will be able to know that the method you use can throw the exception. And the question from Sanders: so Java has built-in methods that always request exceptions. Yes. What do you mean by request exceptions? They request. You are requested to handle these exceptions. Like in this case, you have the method reader, which is, well, let's consider that it also is Java built-in methods. Yeah, it's part of the library, but in Java everything is part of the libraries. So in this case, that's also the method which requests you to handle the exception. Yeah, please note that it requests us to handle the exception. So this is the built-in method in Java library. This one, which requests us to handle exception, input-output exception. Yeah, like in this case. Yeah, that is what I wanted to show. And again, using exceptions, we can escape some additional coding, which in some cases is not really needed, like in this case. Okay, I think we can have the break, and after the break, let's see what we'll do after the break. Yeah. Maybe we can go to the questions part. Yeah, I think we can go to the questions part since I think there was something to explain about the activity 06, which is still a bit tricky for you. But yeah, I understand why it is so tricky. But yeah, let's discuss it after the break. Okay, let's go to the final part of our today's session, and as usually I will try to answer to your questions. Yeah, I see there are some, yeah, just to those who asked the questions in previous 2 days, I mean today and yesterday. I couldn't manage to answer them because I was preoccupied. So that's why I think I can take a look on the problem now. So yeah, regarding the one asked by Christina, and that was on Wednesday. During the session, there was a problem with with the vomiting of human, and basically the main problem was that during the vomit you need to uh, you need to subtract the weight of the stomach from the total weight of Martian. Yeah. So you have weight, then you have birth weight, then you eat something, you increase the weight. Then if not you, but if Martian vomits something, then the weight is decreased. Yeah. That's also please note that this must be done after the vomiting. Yeah, that's this input. That was what was from Christina about this about Sandra. Let me check what does Sandra have. Just a moment. Yeah, okay, for Sandra. Yeah, for Sandra. Okay, for Sandra seems fine. I see that the weight is okay. Okay, let me check. Let me paste the code, and then let's check. So, okay. Maybe don't. Let's not. Moment. Search for more stuff. Yeah. Okay, so here is the problem with the vomiting. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. In this case, it seems that that's about the object. Okay. Let me check what happened here. Not object stomach, but the weight of the stomach. Since you can see that so basically what can be inside the stomach. I think that was stated somewhere. So you can have, there was the definition of this task where that was written what can be inside the stomach. Yeah, for example, we are taking Martian now, but yeah, I think we are taking Martian now. But yeah, replying to Christina, we have we have something inside the stomach. So basically, that can be everything, yeah. But please note that everything can it will always have the weight, yeah. Like if it's human, it will have the weight. If it's Martian, it will also have the weight. So you need to consider that even if that's the object also can have the weight. No, not can have. It will always. It will also have the weight. If it's object or integer, it increases the weight of the Martian. Yeah. See, Christine is typing. Yeah. And yeah, for Zana we're taking Martian. Okay, let's wait until Christine finishes the typing. Okay, meanwhile let's continue with the code checking. Yeah, so that's if stomach equals no, then okay, so question. Thought if Martian vomits, then he vomits all the stomach, and Way gets bird way. That's yeah. I think that from this point of view, if it's actually the same. If it goes to bird weight, or it but actually not. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. If it vomits, it goes to the birth weight. Yeah, that's true. And that's just an explanation to others, because I think Chris, I think Christina, yeah, yeah. But I think Christine, your logic that was that. Sorry, just just mixed you up with Sandra. Yeah, Christina. But in your logic, what I see from the file you sent to me that after vomiting, you don't. You don't. Okay. I see that it is commented out. Yeah, but it should be. It should. But I think yeah, most proper way just reduce the weight with the weight of the stomach. So I think that should be the correct way. Yes, and regarding your problem, okay, let me check the code now. Okay, no vomiting, so if stomach is no, then return no. If else, okay, you can go to birth weight. And yeah, so the problem I think for you, Sandra, is that it is. Yeah, Sandra, you can see that. First of all, if I think that was stated in the exercise that if stomach is full, then you don't need to you don't need to eat something again. Yeah. So if the Martian has something inside the stomach, you don't need to. So it will not eat it for the second time. Yeah. It will not eat for the second time. Okay, if you have stomach. Yeah, one more thing. What you have, uh, Sandra, please. Yeah, I think I can share it to everyone. See, wait, just a moment. Yeah, I'll share it to everyone. So basically, that's. Yeah, first of all, we need to add the statement. And like in case stomach is not an issue, then you don't need to eat it for the second time. Otherwise, so you have these three statements here, and basically, where's the problem? What do you think? So here's one problem. Maybe can you get what's the problem is here? I mean here in these if statements. Yeah, maybe someone of you. Can you match the reason why there's so what's incorrect here? Um, no, actually, you can have if statement without else. That's not the problem from the syntax point of view. Maybe let's go a little bit back to inheritance, yeah. And let's test instance of. So imagine we have two classes. Class, again, let's have AA, A1, something like that. Then let's have class A2, which extends the class A1, yeah, for example. So we have two classes, we don't really care about the logic inside them. So we have, so let's create one class, yeah, sorry, this way. So let's create one object and then let's print out one statement. Object as instance of A2. Yeah. So in this case, that's obviously true because we defined it here. If we ask if that's the instance of A1, and what you can see here, that's also true, right? So if you use operator instance of, it checks for the class itself and for all the parent classes as well. So here you can see A1 class is also the instance of yeah, so a class with reference to A2 is also the instance of its parent class. And what you can see here, we have the class. Yes, that's correct, Zana. Instead of Martian, A1 is maybe not L, Y, L, A, N. I think you can, but I think we don't use A1 somewhere else. But not Martian. Yeah, not Martian. Basically, what you can see here, we have the class Martian, which implements humanoid and clonable and alien. Yeah. But basically what we want? We want to eat one item here, and we check if the item is how the logic goes here. It checks if the item is instance of humanoid. So if it's Martian, it's true. It's true as well, yeah, because the Martian is the subclass of it implements humanoid. Okay, we can in theory we can have its interface. So maybe let's be more precise here. Implements. Let's maybe more precise here. And it's true as well, yeah? So if we have the interface and something implements this interface, that's also true, yeah? And what we can see here, Martian is it implements a humanoid, so it will go here first of all, so we will increase the weight, and after that it will also go to Martian, because that's the instance of, so the Martian is instance of humanoid, that's true, and Martian is also the instance of Martian itself, so it will go to both of these statements. So basically in this case you have to have not humanoid but human instead of humanoid, because in this case so both these statements will be triggered, yeah. So yeah, please consider this one and write it in the right way, because the instance of the subclass, the object with the reference to the subclass of some class or interface will also be the instance of this class or interface. So that's why please write this in proper way. And regarding the casting, it doesn't really matter if you cast to the humanoid or human, because both of them have this interface, yeah. Okay. Okay, I still have the problem with vomiting. Yeah. One more thing, let me check. And yeah, in the method eat, what do you have? You please add the correct check on the stomach. As you can see, the stomach can be the object, but it can also be the integer as well. But for integer it can be 0, which is not null. And in this case, you need to check if the stomach is integer and it equals 0, or it's object and it equals null. Yeah. So please add these checks. If not, so if stomach is instance of integer, and it's not equal 0. Also, yeah, we just need to consider this case. And you can also use the casting operator like this way. Yeah, just let me show you. So you can also use this way directly if you want to compare. So you want to retrieve true or false of the statement. You can also use the casting operator next to the variable in the condition statement. Yeah. Okay, let's check now. Yeah, sorry, Sandra, I just used your code to go through all the details, all the common mistakes everyone may have here. Okay. Let me check for other mistakes. So, stomach, no. And oh yeah, Sandra, one more thing. Yeah, just noticed. Yeah. Yeah, Sandra, please take a look on your vomit, not on your, but when your Martian is vomiting, after it vomits, you must initialize the stomach as well. Yeah, I think that was that was what I was explaining last session. If we actually, when you want, not you, but when your Martian wants to vomit, first of all you need to initialize the stomach of the of your Martian, and then you need to return something what was in the stomach before the initialization. So maybe let me just type some if stomach. And also you always need to check if the stomach, not stomach, but yeah, stomach has instance of object or instance of integer, yeah. Because if you have instance of integer, that you need to check if it is 0 or not. Stomach. copy integer. Cause yeah, I think I can show the code to everyone because I'm not sure if that's the secret. So here you need to return not the stomach, yeah. Stomach, then the stomach equals, you can turn it to null, and you can return the copy. Yeah, as you remember from the last session, I said that if your equals to integer, if your Martian wants to vomit something, you need to initialize the stomach. And do we still have the problem? Yeah, for after vomiting integer. So for integer, yeah, I think that for integer that's also. So was there a different method for vomiting integer, or that was just vomit? Okay, there's only one. Okay. Okay, here we also can vomiting. Okay, that's fine. And yeah, an integer stomach. Sorry, the stomach not equals 0, for example. Yeah, so you also can find else if that's so only the instance of C. Just return how is it this weight, yeah. Okay. Okay, something more. Okay, let me check what something more needs to be done here. Yeah, and of course you need to reduce the weight as well. This weight. It is that is what I said, yeah. You need to reduce the weight after the vomiting. And yeah, that's a different error. Assertion error. Yeah, no pointer. Okay, something is not initialized. Let's check what's not initialized here. Okay, maybe we can do it together. So it shows that something is not initialized. it's not no, then okay. Okay, now we can go to no, yeah, that's fine. So what else do we have here? Okay, there's the object, yeah, that's fine. It's fine as well. Instance of human. Okay. So where's the error? Where the error comes from? So it shows no pointer exception. That means that the empty value may be accessed. Yeah, here you need to use the clone method from this class. Because that's because this will happen recursively. Okay, maybe something more. Okay. Okay, that's still, so it seems that that's still eat and vomit. Okay, let's try to investigate it. Okay, you try to eat, then if stomach is not null, then return. Otherwise, go deeper. Pass the item. Then we check. Okay, this is fine, this is fine, this is fine as well. Okay. Seems to be fine. If you want to eat, stomach, instance of integer. Okay. Seems to be fine. If you copy integer to stomach. Yes, that's fine. Okay, maybe we can get some more information from here. Martian test Java. Okay, maybe. Okay, we can debug it. Why not? Okay, we go to vomit. Okay, I think that was the issue. Oh yeah, my fault here. Sorry. Yeah. Here need to use copy because here, or we can just use this way. Yeah. That would be the same because I tried to use this variable after the initialization. I mean, yeah, which is not correct. I mean, not initialization, but after the querying. Okay, here is the problem with the status, comparison failure. human, but okay, but I think that's what you, okay, maybe that's not the complicated issue, so I think you can fix it as well. Yeah, so for, yeah, I think, yeah, Sandra, do you still have any questions about this? So twist, okay, yeah, so twist that point to, yeah, I think that's the good way we discussed, because some of you have common mistakes, and sorry, Sandra, but based on your code, we can discuss it together. Yeah. So I just show some common mistakes we all can have. Yeah, you all and me as well. Yeah, because I also do some coding, and also I can do some mistakes as well. It's fine for everyone. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So if okay, other questions I see from Zana. From Zana, that was also the question. From Zana. Okay, we have some time today, maybe. Let's check what does Zana have. Yeah, okay. Zana has the my promise was to string. It says that stomach was no, but again, same as regular expression. From main, it works beautifully. Distinct. Okay. Okay, let's check. Zana, maybe can you also share your human class? Because you have a little bit different implementation. Because I just want to align that I checked the correct implementation. Zana, can you share the human class to me as well? So I can align. Can align your development with the Martian class as well. Thanks. Okay. Okay. So what's the error? Okay, wrong implementation to string. Expected Martian 14, but was Martian 14 and no. Okay. So you have to string plus stomach, yeah? Plus stomach. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. No, I mean, I just you sent to me. You previously sent to me only Martian class, but not human class. But I see you. So that's why if I used your Martian class, I just had some problems with the compatibility between your between your Martian class and my human class. Yeah, that's why I ask you to. No, it's yeah, just yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I just want to align your human class with my human class so I can test it properly. Okay, so as it stands here, there's the problem with to string, not yet string, and with actually there's the problem with the stomach. So it means that stomach was not filled somewhere, yeah. So if you eat alien, or okay, if you eat Martian, or you eat okay, here you don't, okay, you eat integer as well. Cool. No, then okay. Oh, okay. Here you can see that you don't put something inside the stomach, so you need to assign food to stomach, yeah, because you just add the weight, but you don't add anything to Martian stomach. That's why you have the error. Yeah, we also can have some issues with vomiting, but regarding the string, the problem was that you didn't add the food to stomach. Regarding other errors, I think we discussed almost everything. So please okay, don't think that you may. I don't consider that you will try it today, but if you try it, for example, tomorrow, and something still goes wrong, we can discuss this one as well. Yes. Just, yeah, tweet as well and just fix the vomiting. Yeah, but I think we discussed, yeah, Zana, we discussed the vomiting problems today, so I think, yeah, we discussed it pretty widely, so please try to fix it yourself, and if you still have the problem with this, we can discuss it, yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah, you can rewatch it on YouTube, yeah. Obviously, so okay. Yes, and that was the first question from Sandra, and the second question is about the debugging in unit test. Test debugging. Okay, I think about the debugging of JUnit tests, we can discuss it. We can discuss the debugging of unit tests tomorrow, because that will require us a little bit more time than we have today. So yeah, we can discuss the debugging of unit tests tomorrow. Yeah, that's the good question, and that's the pretty useful feature if we do it. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think since no more questions for today, and I think we can meet as usually tomorrow. Okay, yeah, there's also a question about extra 06 regular expressions. Do I understand correct that at first we need to find there are, yes, we need to find if there's Kenny or Kelly per turn, yeah. That's correct. Maybe let me check what was asked there. So first of all, First of all, yes, you need to check if there is Kenny Kelly pattern. Just have the string entered. Then you need to check if there is the substring of Kenny or Kelly used there. Yeah. And if among matches are Kenny, you need to return position of Kenny. Yes, you need to return the starting position of Kenny, yeah, or Kelly. So you have the string like something something, then you have Kenny or Kelly as option. Then based on that you return the, so if it's found, then you return the starting position of Kenny or Kelly. Yeah. Okay. Okay, since no more questions, I think tomorrow we'll have time to discuss. Okay, then it's okay. Then I think it was only Kenny. No, I think that was for both Kenny and Kelly. Return position of, I think it means I think that was mistyped. That position needs to be for Kenny and Kelly both. Yeah. So the position should be for both of them. Yeah. But yeah, basically the idea is that you use regular expressions, like not only one or two, but just you use the pattern. Yeah. You have the same beginning, KE. Then you have two options if it's double N or double L. Yeah. And after that you check if it, and yeah, after that there should be Y at the end. So you need to check the pattern, which one pattern which basically checks Kenny or Kelly. We discussed it once, but yeah, please think about it before tomorrow, and also tomorrow we can also discuss it as well. Yeah, just small reminder to you. Okay. Okay, so I think today we can close the session, and tomorrow we'll discuss everything else. Yeah, we'll have a lot of time tomorrow as usually do have. So okay, let's meet tomorrow as usually. Thank you and good night.